implementation of alien technology at Montauk. I personally believe that Montauk was most likely a test bed for some of the technology interchange between aliens and the U.S. government. That they were trying out a lot of these great ideas they got. They're also trying to replicate systems and technologies they had on the captured, crashed UFOs. Also, I can remember I had an office in the radar tower. It was the first office on the second floor in the back. Next to my office was another office, and I remember, I swear on a stack of Bibles, I remember a lizard man in that office. It was His Highness Draco something. I can't remember the other name. And he was about 6 foot, 7 foot tall, had sort of like scaly skin, humanoid. He walked erect like we do. He had 2 arms, 2 legs. He had a tail, but it really didn't show most of the time. He had somewhat of a humanoid face, strange eyes, a big mouth, and, you know, looked like what you would expect if you're going to put together a lizard man. There was a being on Star Trek called the Gorn that Captain Kirk fought on this planet. This man that I worked next to sort of resembled that being. Now,
how did that strike you?
I didn't.
That would have to be a traumatic experience. No, not you.
I didn't have that much to do with it. I call it it. I'm not sure whether it was he or she, but I didn't have that much to do with it.
But you accepted his presence as something normal for...
What else do you do? You're working next to this thing.
True.
You know, it's, how are you? Hi, you know, that sort of thing.
Go out for coffee and donuts?
He spoke in a hissy voice, you know, hissed a lot, and sort of sounded like he was loud whispering most of the time. And then we had those little ugly things.
The gray type?
Yeah, and then we had the 5-footers and the 3-footers. We used to, get away, you bother me.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that was the way you handle those, and those things smelled. In fact, there's an odd recollection I have for both the reptilian man and the Greys, the little Greys. The little Greys, I think the idea that's floating around the UFO community that they absorb their food through the skin and excrete through the skin is correct. Because my memories of those Greys stunk to high heaven. They smelled like bowel of fecal matter and urine. And we used to regularly, if we had to work with them, we'd pick the thing up physically and throw it in the shower and wash it. Because we couldn't take the odor of it. And one day, I don't know who it was, got the right idea. Well, after we clean it, let's spray him with Lysol. Maybe it'll smell better for a while. They got him drunk. He loved the Lysol. The Greys are going to the commissary getting cans of Lysol and spraying themselves with it. They loved it. And then...
Even though it's still story, it's a good laugher. I don't know. It's great. Great entertainment.
And then the other thing that we ran across, I needed some sodium hydroxide for a special soldering project. Of course, we all know Drano is essentially sodium hydroxide. So I went to the commissary, got a can of Drano. So I took a glass, put some water in it, dissolved the Drano in it. I was using this as flux of solid wood. His Highness Draco comes in, and he said, "More!" So I got another glass of water, poured some more Drano in it, handed it to him, and the Draco was getting drunk on Drano. How the hell they could stomach that stuff, I don't know. So finally, he really tied a rag on.
Doing it out of leather.
He really tied on a rag. He must have drank about 8 glasses of water made of the heavy, thick Drano. I put enough in so it was thick, because I was using a solder paste. And gulp. And finally, he came back to normal sense. He asked me, "How do you make that stuff? That's the greatest stuff he'd ever had." So I told him, "Go get some Drano," and they had to keep buying more and more Drano. Because the reptilians are getting drunk on the Drano, and they had to buy more Lysol because the Greys are getting drunk on the Lysol.
That's the reason why the
reptilians would get falling down drunk on the Drano.
That's right.
Were they involved in the project then, directly?
I think they were there more as advisors. This is why I think they were there as advisors.
Were they there of their free will?
It seemed to be.
Yeah.
Because they were treated well by the station management. It was almost like, Your Highness, how are you? They were kowtowing to the reptilian.
There was also Syrians there for sure. That I get a feel for. I don't recall any meeting per se, but direct. The Syrians are there too.
Well, we believe the chair came from the Syrians.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So Syrians could have come to help us interface the chair. The chair originally came from ITT, Mackay Radio, ITT World Communications, Mackay Radio. They were experimenting with this thing in some sort of a strange lab they had in Southampton that was under the main Worldwide Communications building. In fact, most of the workers for ITT Communications didn't even know of the existence of this underground lab. But they were tied in with a lot of the antennas and such on the site, and they had the technology exchange project from the Syrians. ITT. So there were the ITT chairs, but also later on they brought in more direct Syrian chairs. In fact, Al Bielek could tell you about, he was involved in making a computer interface the Syrian computer to the Cray 1 for the Cray 2.
Now when you refer to Syrians, can you be more specific?
They're the beings, they look somewhat human-like. They're from Sirius A, in the Sirius star system. They're the ones that they were worshipped as God in the Egyptian culture. Egypt had the god Sirius. They were the Syrians.
And they're like us?
They look somewhat like us. They're taller head and bigger eyes, I believe.
Same skin?
Similar skin, yeah.
In the town.
So are you serious about those stories?
Yeah, what is the objectivity of the Drano story? I mean, like, Preston, if you could just put that in perspective for the audience. The objectivity, because it was a bizarre story.
It is a bizarre story, but I remember it happening.
This whole thing is, in the bottom, totally bizarre. So
their body chemistry is arranged that they must run on an alkaline system instead of the carbon cycle. They're not quite the carbon cycle that we are. Although they supposedly have some common genetics between us, some common genetics. Apparently their body type, body base is quite a bit different from ours. Because if we drink Drano, it'll kill us. Or if we spray Lysol on our skin, it just stings, but doesn't get us drunk like the Greys do. So apparently their body chemistry must be different enough that they assimilate these chemicals different from what we do.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
But, sure, it's a funny story, but it does say something about the biology of the aliens. That they have a major difference in their biology.
Perhaps a saurian evoluted form.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're getting out of my field. My field is physics and science and electronics, not biology.
Yeah.
Biology was my worst science.
That's what this is all about in the end, isn't it? It's about our biological evolution, nothing else. Nothing else.
Absolutely.
It's not about UFOs.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.